Module 7, Part 1, Pre-Planning Evaluation. The key concepts in plan evaluation highlight the importance of measurement. We have to understand the value of campaign measurement as a long-term investment. Measurements should be set up before a campaign starts, and often you want to consider a holdout group or a campaign pre-test before the campaign starts. And goals and measurement must reflect the business objectives, whether those are branding effects, such as an increase in awareness or consideration or purchase intent, or a sales impact, lift in sales, or other outcomes that can be attributed to advertising. Plan evaluations help set the stage for the future. The plan must be evaluated in context to set realistic expectations. Is this for a new product or one that has been around for years? Is it a competitive category? Is the brand the leader or just one of many? Is the plan targeted to a broad or narrow segment of the population? And is the plan geared to the product's consideration and purchase cycle? Understanding the results of the plan is not just about proving success, but about improving the next campaign, or especially in digital, improving the current campaign in flight. Plan evaluation is critical. If you don't learn what worked well and what didn't, your next media plan will have less chance of succeeding. A plan is just that. It's a recommendation on which media to use to deliver the right message to the right audience at the right time. And given how many factors need to be assessed and how rapidly things change, it is almost always the case that next year's plan can be enhanced in some way. There are minimum standards for campaign evaluation, and agency reports typically compare actuals versus goals in terms of each of these things: rating points, the GRPs, the reach, the frequency, the percent of the target reached by frequency, the cost, and the cost per thousand, or the effective cost per thousand. Media plan evaluation begins before the campaign launches. Advertisers often want changes made before or during the execution of the plan, and there can be many reasons for this. Changes in consumer response, changes in the product, changes in distribution, changes from the competition in terms of pricing strategies, and economic trends. Plans can change based on consumer response, and in an automated programmatic world, consumer response can be measured on an ongoing basis. Which sites are generating more clicks, which social media ads get more likes or shares or tweets, which video ads are being viewed more or for longer. And we can make changes to the buys as they are happening. Product changes sometimes necessitate changes to the plan. Generally, these will be well known in advance, but occasionally a brand will want to reconfigure or change the plan and/or its own message to announce its news. Sometimes a completely separate campaign is launched. When Oscar Mayer Lunchables introduced the fact that it had no artificial ingredients, or when McDonald's Happy Meals announced it was no longer including chocolate milk. And that both of those examples could have led to changes in the media plan. At other times, an approved plan may need to be adjusted to incorporate new messaging. New channels of distribution can be the cause of plan changes as well. Again, often known far in advance, or sometimes a new plan is created specifically for this news. If Blue Buffalo dog food was now on Chewy.com, it may want to expand its digital investment to reinforce that message. When Nordstrom wanted to let consumers know that you could now order online and pick up in store, they might choose to put more outdoor ads in the plan as a reminder, or have digital print ads for broader awareness. If competitors make changes, then your plan may have to adjust. Airlines adding new gates at major airports could change the planning for those who are the other airlines that are already at that airport. Or last-minute purchases in major events like the Super Bowl or Oscars. If Chevy buys the spots in one of those events, then that could alter Ford's media strategy. Economic conditions can impact the plan at any time, and that can go both ways, both up or down. If the stock market goes up, for example, you may see financial service companies change their media strategy to expand their reach to more prospective customers. Alternatively, if the stock market goes down, those same companies may switch to greater frequency to remind their current customers that they are here for them in tough times. There are 4 basic ways to evaluate a media plan. Analyze how well the plan, or even a media channel, achieved its set reach and frequency goals against the target. Check to see that ads all ran as planned. Examine the consumer impact of the plan, and determine the plan's return on investment. For reach and frequency, did the plan meet the goals? What were the ratings or impressions that were delivered? How did those compare to the plan? If there's over delivery, it's generally considered a free bonus. If there's under delivery, that usually requires some kind of make good. Did the ads run as expected? How was the schedule? A post-buy evaluation looks at exactly where and when the ad appeared. And this is down to the day, date, and time of TV or radio ads, the site or network impression delivery of digital ads, and tear sheets for actual print ads. Consumer research can occur before, during, and after the campaigns. Sometimes it's done throughout the campaign to track key performance indicators and attitudinal impact, such as brand and ad awareness through recall and recognition or organic search activity, message impact, recall and favorability, and purchase consideration and intent. And this can be used also to confirm the validity of the target audience or realign the message distribution. More commonly, it's done near the end or after the campaign to assess its overall impact. But some companies do this kind of brand health tracking throughout the campaign. And it can also be done qualitatively as well as quantitatively. Media campaign measurement is a long-term investment. It's all too often thought of as a check-the-box exercise. Frequently, media sellers will actually build in the cost of third-party measurement, or they offer to measure the campaign themselves, which is not as ideal due to the notion of them grading their own homework. But often the advertiser or agency will accept the offer and consider the campaign measurement taken care of. Sometimes the agency will apply the cost of campaign measurement as part of the campaign's expense, but this does tend to drive down the quality of the campaign measurement. Effective measurement of a media campaign does lead to long-term accumulated learning, which allows the practitioner to improve all future campaigns. Effective measurement best practice is to start early and learn throughout. Ideally, the media campaign impact should be assessed across the consumer journey in terms of both branding effects and sales or performance outcomes. And this would include all standard branding metrics as well as incremental sales effect. And as noted, measurement should be set before the campaign begins. To measure the true impact of the media, an unexposed control group should be created. It's best to set up a true control group, a random holdout against which to clearly identify incremental sales in those who were exposed. It's also best to analyze the pre versus during and post changes at the individual household level to gain high certainty of which sales are incremental. Sometimes it is difficult to establish a true control group because consumers might get exposed through multiple media touchpoints, and it is difficult to control for no exposure. Advanced post-campaign analytics can address an advertiser's key questions. They can help the advertiser understand the impact of different media types, program environments or contexts, different parts of the consumer journey, different creative executions, and different targets, as well as help understand the synergy effects across media channels. Pre-testing creative is a best practice. Historically, this was the standard for campaigns, but it now occurs less often. Typically, only 1/3 of all creative executions are seen to have dramatic positive effects, and another third have been found to have no effect. But by the time this is discovered and the creative executions are removed, millions of media dollars may have already been spent. A new option is the ability to conduct random control tests within big data panels or samples. Only addressable media can be tested this way so far, including connected TV, over-the-top, and other forms of addressable TV, as well as all digital channels. This risks almost no media cost and measures not only the creative, but all aspects of the planned campaign. And we'll talk more about random control testing. Here's an example where creative A produced higher purchase intent than creative B. Contextually relevant impressions drove higher purchase intent for both. So there's all these different ways to cut the data and look at exposed versus unexposed and high versus low resonance. Evaluating the synergy of media impact helps to improve future plans. As noted last week, the impact of one media channel does not occur independently of others. When evaluating how well a plan delivered, it's important to assess the combined impact of multiple paid, owned, and earned media, and this can well vary by target audience. Just as an example, paid social and influencer marketing will likely work better against a Gen Z or Gen Alpha target. In contrast, traditional TV and newspapers will likely work better for a baby boomer target. Here's an example of a CPG brand campaign which found TV has greater ROI than digital, but the two together outperform TV alone. And again, this is by looking at exposed versus unexposed and in connection with sales. Here for a tune-in campaign, people seeing only the paid ads did not tune in, but if they also saw ads on the network's own air, the paid ads added significantly to the tune-in. These sort of synergy effects show up when one looks for them carefully in post-evaluation of campaigns. An example done by TiVo research a few years ago showed that exposures across a combination of platforms were more likely to drive live tune-in versus DVR playback. So again, we're looking at TV and digital and the combination. Context still matters and is important. In the world of digital cookies and programmatic buying, the consensus grew that context mattered less for media effectiveness because the focus was on audience-based buying. If the brand's messages reached the right people, it mattered less whether the ad appeared in a defined context, such as food ads on food websites or cooking shows. But now with the impending demise of cookies, there is renewed interest in understanding the value of context. And companies like Google frequently talk about targeting based on interests, which suggests that content in context may have renewed and growing importance. Media optimizer systems can help improve both efficiency and sometimes also effectiveness. These software systems help media planners understand which media types are best suited for their campaigns and how to optimize the plan to determine the most cost-efficient reach within and across media channels. So these can be used pre-campaign to evaluate potential impact. And then post-campaign, these same systems can show the campaign delivery in terms of reach and frequency. Which media channels reach my target most effectively? How does my audience reach overlap across channels? How would a change in my media budget impact sales? And what is the optimal media mix based on reach or TRP goals? Here's an example conducted by an analytics company, 605, that showed that about 11 weeks into the campaign, 81% of all homes were exposed to at least one ad from brand X. Among those exposed households, the mean frequency was 15 and the median was 11. And the post placement shows that there was a good range with decent sized reach increases, even several weeks into the flight. As you can see on the right, the different creative impressions delivery are shown week by week. And all of this can come from optimization systems. So when this happens during a campaign, it's called in-flight optimization, and it shows while the campaign is running which creative or audience segment or ad placement or all three are performing better than others. It's done by linking media exposure data to outcomes, and the software allows for reallocation of the media dollars during the campaign to those performing tactics or channels that are doing better to help further improve the result.